Good morning, I am Katherine. I'm stepping in for Sammy for the Nutrition Hour for Active in Redbourne. I am mum of 3 boys and a nutritional therapist, and I specialise in helping mums who are struggling with depression, anxiety and low mood. Last week I spoke about nutrition tips to help boost low mood, and this week I'm going to talk about evidence-based lifestyle tips which also help so much with mood. That is quite simply because you can have the best diet ever, but if your sleep is suboptimal and or your stress levels are high, you're not going to be at the best you can be, and vice versa. The body and mind, as I said last week, are completely interconnected, so we have to nourish our lovely minds as well as our bodies. Please do put any questions you may have into the chat box and I will be very happy to answer them at the end. I will be live until midday today. I've also summarised this session as a PDF and you can access that at my website under free downloads. It's www.katherinehorstman.com and I'll put my social media links in the chat box too, and you can see the spelling of my tricky name as well. So all the following tips help symptoms of depression, anxiety and low mood, mainly because they enhance our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of our nervous system which encourages us to rest and digest. Be calm and restful. By managing our stress, we can decrease inflammation in the body and increase also the levels of a particular protein that promotes and protects our brain cells. Cortisol is our main hormone that's involved in our stress response, but it does and it's actually protective and anti-inflammatory to a certain extent. But when you're constantly subjected to stress, it can wreak havoc on our body and all our bodily systems, and especially our hormones. Our brain cells can even become less responsive to neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, which are so important to boost our mood. They're the little the brain chemicals. So it is sometimes hard to remove the increasing number of stresses that we have in our modern life in this Western world, but it's about finding techniques to reduce the impact of those stresses. So these are some evidence-based tips for you. Number 1 is deep breathing. We all take it for granted a bit. Yes, of course I breathe, but particularly when we're under stress, we shallow breathe without realising it, which hinders the amount of oxygen that is delivered to the rest of our body. So slowing down our breath allows our heart rate and our blood pressure to slow, reducing those feelings of anxiety. An example of this as a simple technique is called box breathing, and it's actually done in the Navy to help the soldiers deal with stressful situations, and it is very simply breathing in the shape of a box. So you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4 and repeat. Maybe for about 5 minutes is sort of optimal, and then you can extend your breath if you want to 5 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever feels manageable for you. Number 2 is meditation. It's something anyone can do, and it's really about blocking out some of the noise from the outside world and allowing our minds to feel quiet and calm. So thoughts and feelings will still come and go all the time, but we learn to gently observe them and bring our awareness back to our breath. It's about trying to achieve a sort of calm and emotionally stable state. It's not about sitting cross-legged with our eyes closed necessarily for everyone. For some people I've met, it's knitting, gardening, even colouring in even. Some good apps to consider to give you a structure to your meditations are Calm, Headspace, Insight Timer, And actually one of my personal favourites is called Nothing Much Happens, which are really lovely adult bedtime stories that you can listen to before you go to sleep. If you do find meditation just doesn't happen for you, try sticking a reminder in your diary or your phone, because if you do it the same time each day, you're more likely to build a habit. So for some people that's when they wake, some people when they go to sleep, maybe after lunch, just to reset you before you go back to work at your desk or go back to the children, whatever it is you do. Number 3, try yoga. Yoga and meditation have a very calming influence on that parasympathetic nervous system. In a recent study, that brain-friendly protein I mentioned earlier, which is called BDNF for short, it actually tripled after a group of people did yoga and meditation for 3 months, which is quite an astonishing result. The Deliciously Ella app is very good. It's got some meditations, it's got yoga sessions, and it's got lots of recipes. I think for 99 pence a month it's quite good value. Number 4, get at least 8 hours of good quality sleep a night. Your body does so much restoration and repair while you're sleeping, including regulating your blood sugar levels, your cortisol levels, your hormones. If you have any interruptions in the night, try to minimise them where possible. I understand that's not possible with children, for example, but as an example, in clinic I had a client who was being woken about 3 or 4 times a night by her cat, so I simply asked her if she could close her bedroom door so she wasn't interrupted by the cat. Focus on sleep hygiene, so lavender essential oil in a diffuser is very nice, cool sheets, an open window for some fresh air, no screens before bed because of the blue light, and also some Epsom salts. A good couple of cupfuls in the bath is very good. They contain a very absorbable form of magnesium, which is good for your relaxation and good to relax your muscles as well. If worries are keeping you awake at night, or your sort of mental to-do list that we all have, keep a little notebook next to your bed and write them down so they're out of your mind. You can come back to them tomorrow and hopefully that will allow you to transition into sleep. Number 5, don't be afraid to ask for help. We are human, we are all vulnerable in our own way, and life can be really messy, and keeping it to ourselves doesn't help the situation. I can vouch for that personally. I often see a reluctance for people to try counselling unless they feel there's some very significant trauma or something going on. But there may simply be aspects of your character that you want to understand better, or things that you feel that maybe hold you back and you just want to understand more in order to navigate through life. So consider counselling, and definitely consider letting your loved ones know what you're going through, how you're feeling, and being quite specific about how you want them to support you. You might not want any emotional support at all, but you might really appreciate some dinners, because sometimes when we're feeling very low, we don't feel like cooking and doing the whole housekeeping stuff, so that might be what you need. It's different for everyone. Number 6 is exercise. The link between exercise and improvement in mood is significant. Also for enhancing immunity, improving our sleep and digestion, strengthening our muscles and bones. So that becomes particularly important in menopausal years when our estrogen declines, because estrogen is so protective to our bones. An improved circulation of blood and lymphatic fluid as well. So aim for 30 minutes of weight-bearing exercise every other day, walking, jogging, tennis, something that you enjoy, something that doesn't feel like a chore. And I highly recommend the Couch to 5K app launched by the NHS if you fancy getting into jogging. I certainly was never a runner, and I've managed to do 5k in 9 weeks. It's very manageable. It's it's a good one to try. Number 7, drink enough water. Very few of us do. I see lots of problems in clinic which are quite simply the result of dehydration. Your body uses water in all its cells, organs, tissues to help regulate body temperature, maintain lots of other bodily functions. And because we lose water constantly through breathing, sweating, digestion, we constantly need to rehydrate. So what's optimal are 2 litres of fluids every day, and most of these should be plain, ideally filtered water. Drink from a glass, or if it's a bottle, make sure it's BPA free. It's a type of it's a plastic that can leach chemicals into our water. And if you don't like the taste of water, which I hear quite a lot, just add some citrus fruit in there, or some berries, some pomegranate seeds, just something that makes it more appealing to you, or get yourself a really nice new glass or bottle or something. Number 8, reduce your chemical exposure. Consider the cumulative load of everything that we apply to our skin, eat, breathe, and try and reduce those things in life that we do have some control over. The air we breathe outside the house less so obviously, but chemicals are linked in particular to a lot of hormonal changes these days. Many of them act as what we call xenoestrogens, which essentially means they mimic our hormones. And so your body might think, for example, a chemical is estrogen, and we don't want an overload of any particular hormone. So consider swapping to organic food to make an impact in that area, because it doesn't have the pesticides, antibiotics. Organic meat won't have the hormones that are injected into animals. If the budget does allow, then if your budget is tight, then focus on those foods that we call the dirty dozen, which really means the foods that absorb most of these pesticides. They absorb most of them. Strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, they're a few of them. Our skin is our largest organ. It's our first line of defence for our immune system. So we put things on our skin and they go into our bloodstream. Yet our soaps, shampoos, lotions, there's a big list of personal care products. They do contain toxic chemicals like parabens. I recommend, just a little app called Think Dirty, which allows you just to enter the products that you've got, and it has like a traffic light system to show you the extent to which your products are dirty or not, if you're interested in doing that. Swap deodorants for ones that don't contain aluminium. It's such a vulnerable area where we're applying our deodorant, particularly as a woman, because it's so close to our lymph nodes and our breast tissue. And use essential oils in diffusers instead of room fresheners like Febreze. If you're not convinced, just Google some of the ingredients on the back of the Febreze bottle. Cleaning products are another source of a lot of chemicals that linger in your house for a long time. The brand I personally use are called Method, and they have a lot less nasties in them. Number 9, support detoxification. As I just said, we are exposed to so many different chemicals. Our body doesn't have a natural biochemical pathway for eliminating those chemicals from our body. So if those toxins can't be excreted because there's a genetic a snip, if you like, that means we can't get rid of them, or we're just having an overload of them, then they're stored in our tissues, and then that might have an impact on things like the development of autoimmune conditions, or sluggish thyroid function. So give your body a helping hand and support your major organs, your liver and kidney especially, and your other modes of elimination. So what does that mean? I always suggest 3 days in a row with no alcohol a week, just to give your liver that optimal chance to regenerate. So Tuesday to Thursday works quite well. Ideally, going back to the exercise, that 30 minutes 3 times a week, that sweating becomes more important because we can eradicate some of the chemicals via our skin. The lymphatic system is one of our main mechanisms our body uses to detoxify. So regular dry body brushing is great to increase that lymphatic drainage, as is rebounding actually on a trampoline. Deep breathing, regular bowel movements, very important so you're not recycling your hormones, and sufficient water intake that we talked about. Finally, practicing gratitude. Practicing gratitude enhances our really beneficial neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, the ones that cause happiness. And the last thing, it might be the last thing we actually feel like doing when we're feeling really low, but it really does help. Even in those darkest days, there'll be something that we can think of to be grateful for, however small, maybe, you know, just that you got to drink your whole cup of tea while it was still warm. The science behind gratitude is equally strong. It forces our mind to have a more optimistic outlook, and it also gives us that chance in the day just to reflect, which we don't do so much in this time-poor world that we're living in. So consider just keeping a gratitude diary near your bed or on your desk and writing a couple of things in it every day that you felt grateful for. That's it from me. I really hope you've enjoyed this session and taken something away from it. Sammy's back next week to talk about another topic in nutrition. In the meantime, you can access this session, like I mentioned, on my download on my website, and I have put the links in the chat box. Social media is Katherine Horseman Nutrition. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Any questions in the chat box? Bye.